They called my name. No one clapped. No photos, no handshake, no family waiting in the crowd. I watched it happen from the parking lot. Seat reclined, burger wrapper in my lap, diploma still sealed on the passenger seat. It was 2:14 p.m. graduation day, June 3rd, 86 degrees outside. I hadn't heard from my parents since the night before. They had RSVP'd. Section B, 2 front row seats. They just didn't come. My name is Jude Kessler. I'm 22. Dual major in computer science and applied statistics. Graduated summa cum laude from Westridge University. That day, I ate a cold burger in my car while someone else's dad cried over a Facebook live stream. I was parked just outside the gym. I didn't want to walk inside after they called my name. Didn't want to pretend I was part of whatever was happening in there. The seats I reserved were still empty. I know because I saw them from the mirror. There was a pause after my name, just long enough for the sound guy to lower the mic. The silence said everything. Everyone else had balloons, flash photography, hugs. I had a large fry and a flat Sprite. They chose Elijah, my cousin, barely graduated. Failed 2 classes and had to get a professor fired to retake them. But he's charming. He looks good in photos. My mom says he has a senator's face. He got the dinner reservation, the new MacBook. My parents were inside the gym, 3rd row. I saw them when the door opened for a janitor hauling in more water bottles. My mom was smiling. My dad stood with his hands behind his back, like he was watching a stock rise. They didn't even text me. Not a good luck, not a we're late, nothing. I checked my phone again anyway. No missed calls, no messages. Just a group photo posted on my aunt's feed. Proud of our future leader. Elijah was in the middle, all teeth and charisma. My parents on either side of him like they were on a campaign trail. I wasn't tagged. I bit into the burger. It had gone cold. The lettuce slid out the back. I didn't care. The air smelled like parking lot heat and someone's spilled iced coffee. Across the lane, a dad was lifting his daughter into the air while his wife cried behind a camcorder. Their laughter echoed off the gym wall and hit my windshield like a slap. I didn't cry. That would have made it about them. Instead, I finished the burger and checked the time again. 2:19 p.m. I'd been in the car for an hour. 2 weeks ago, I was told I'd been chosen to give the student address. Faculty said it was unanimous. My GPA, my portfolio, my reputation. Even the department chair said I'd earned the mic. 3 days later, they gave it to Jacob Hendricks. His dad is a state senator. Big donor. Lots of interviews. Looks good on stage. Nobody said it to my face, but the decision came after my father emailed the dean. We'd prefer Jude focus on post-graduation planning, not public attention. It's a family value thing. Family value. When I was 12, my brother crashed his car into a mailbox drunk. My dad used my college fund to buy him another one. When I was 15, I built a website to help teachers flag academic plagiarism. The school ignored it. My father said, "Build something profitable." When I was 17, my mother told me I was an accident during an argument. Said she was surprised I'd made it this far. I didn't go inside the gym, didn't take a selfie in front of the balloons, didn't hug anyone. I ate in my car and let the air go stale. Then came the knock. It was soft, not the kind of knock you expect from a security guard or a confused parent. I turned my head slowly. A man stood beside my window, peering in with eyes behind thick, circular glasses. Corduroy jacket, threadbare collar, slight stoop. Dr. Lowell, guest lecturer from sophomore year, taught a class nobody wanted to take on, ethical systems and societal code. Most students skipped it. I didn't. I rolled down the window halfway. "You were supposed to be inside," he said. Didn't feel like it. He looked at the empty cup in my console, the burger wrapper, the gym in the distance. Then he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a thick manila envelope. "Here," he said. What is it?" "Call it a contingency plan. You gave me $1 once, outside Brewster Hall. I hadn't shaved in 3 days. You said I looked like I needed a win." "I don't remember that." He nodded. "Exactly." I took the envelope. It was heavier than I expected. He leaned in closer, voice low. "They're not the only ones who see you." Then he tapped twice on the window, turned, and walked away, shoes clicking against the concrete like punctuation mark. I didn't open the envelope. Not then. I just stared at the seat where it sat. A single line played in my head. Something my father said once at a holiday party when he thought I wasn't listening. "Jude's clever, but he doesn't know how the world works. Book smart, not real smart." Maybe he was right. Maybe I didn't know how the world worked, but I was about to learn. And when I did, they'd remember the seat they left empty. I was 8 when I realized silence had power. It was at a dinner party. My father's colleagues from the consulting firm were over. A dozen people packed around a glass table that cost more than my mom's car. My brother spilled wine on his dress shirt. Everyone laughed. I corrected a senior partner's math while clearing plates. Number 1 noticed. Number 1 ever did. I stopped speaking at dinners not long after that. We lived in the kind of house that always looked like it was about to be listed. White stone, black iron fence, one of those modern layouts with vaulted ceilings and no warmth. My bedroom faced the backyard, where my mother planted roses she didn't water and my father practiced his golf swing into a net he never used. I used to sit by the window with my laptop, coding while the rest of the house argued downstairs about image, connections, and opportunity cost. Opportunity cost, my father said once, was why they didn't come to my middle school science fair. We had to make a choice. Your mother's fundraiser meant exposure. Your volcano model didn't. I'd built that model from scratch. Even rigged it to use 2 chemical triggers. It erupted perfectly. Number 1 saw it. My brother Ethan was 4 years older and twice as golden. Varsity everything. Perfect hair. A shoulder tattoo he got at 16 that my parents said was an expression of leadership. When he crashed his first car, my father bought him another. Said accidents teach accountability. When I got a perfect SAT score, my mother said, be humble. Nobody likes a show-off. I never raised my voice. Never argued. At 17, I moved most of my belongings into a storage unit 2 blocks away. Said it was for college prep. Truth was, I didn't want them touching my things. At Westridge, I took a work-study job the same day I moved into the dorms. Bagged groceries from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Went to class in the same shirt I stocked shelves in. Did my laundry on Tuesdays at 1 a.m. because it was the only time the washers were empty and no one would ask why I didn't own dryer sheets. For 1 semester, I didn't have housing at all. The financial aid office misplaced my recert form. I stayed in my car, showered in the gym, 8 packets of instant oatmeal stolen from orientation week bins. Nobody noticed. I still turned in every assignment early. Never missed class. Never told anyone. I built my first serious back-end system sophomore year. Ghost Audit. It was designed to run silent audits on financial systems, flagging internal fraud patterns before they hit thresholds. I submitted it as a class project under a dummy license, just to avoid giving the university any rights to it. A year later, a modified version of the exact same code showed up in a software suite used by 2 accounting firms in Chicago. Same structure, same flagging logic, same file signature. I didn't say anything. I had copies, timestamps, build logs, but Jake never rants. Jake watches. By senior year, I had 3 versions of Ghost Audit running on test servers, 1 written in Python, 1 in C, 1 hybrid model built for enterprise-scale application. I named them Alpha, Beta, and Quiet. Quiet was the one no one knew about. It didn't flag errors. It mapped them, connected them, graphed behavioral drift inside the code. It didn't just find problems. It learned why they were happening and who was responsible. I hadn't realized yet that Quiet was going to become a weapon. When I wasn't building systems, I was working data jobs under fake names, paid my tuition with side contracts, cleaned up a payment gateway for a charity that was skimming from their own donations, found a backdoor in a city council website that exposed voter registration forms, rebuilt the backend for a community college after their IT team got caught mining crypto. I never put my real name on any of it, never posted my work, never showed my parents. They thought I worked part-time in tech support. The night before graduation, my mother called. I saw her name light up and let it ring. She left a voicemail. Hi, sweetheart. Just confirming where we're sitting tomorrow. Can't wait to see you in that robe. We're so proud. Oh, and if you can, send us the parking info. I never replied. She never followed up. The next day, they sat with Elijah and called it family. I'd never needed them to be proud of me. I just needed them to stop pretending I didn't exist. The world's full of people who love what you do, as long as they don't have to acknowledge you did it. I kept the manila envelope unopened until the night after graduation. It sat on my desk in the dorm I'd already cleared out. The lights were off, just the screen from my laptop glowing and one message blinking from an encrypted email account I'd set up during freshman year. Subject, authorization code, clean line access granted. It was from Dr. Lowell. Inside the envelope were credentials, a 12-month accelerator proposal, and access keys to something called the Orion Collective. I'd heard of them, quietly. A microfund think tank based out of Luxembourg. Small portfolio, high-impact bets. No social media, no public face, just results. Someone had connected the dots. I spent that night doing what Jake always does when the world tries to forget him. I watched, logged into Quiet, ran a trace on any entities using Ghost Audit logic, pinged 5 results. One of them was an integration partner of Kessler Advisory Group, my father's firm. The flag was subtle, a payment pattern just under audit threshold, monthly invoices to a consulting group with a mailbox address in Delaware. Another flag on election cycle donations processed through a shell LLC that linked, via metadata, to my mother's campaign committee. I sat back, let it soak in. They hadn't just ignored me. They'd stolen me, used my work, wiped my name, and now they were building reputations on top of my silence. I didn't get mad, didn't throw anything, didn't scream. I just opened a new file, named it Contingency 01. Then I typed the first line. Let's see what else they forgot. I didn't tell anyone what I found, not the dean, not the professor, not even the accelerator rep from Orion who'd invited me to an onboarding call the next Monday. Jake never tips his hand. I just kept digging. The trail started small. A service endpoint labeled /auto-verify in a payment portal plugin flagged a match. I ran the checksum against my original build, identical, bit for bit. That endpoint wasn't public. I'd designed it specifically for Quiet's proprietary model, written in raw C with hashed ID chains only I knew how to generate. I'd built it alone over a winter break. The comments in the code were mine, right down to the misspelled verification tag I'd never bothered to fix. Now it was sitting inside a fintech middleware product called VaultBridge, a payment security stack getting press for its AI fraud detection model. Their founder's name was Owen Krall, age 31, MBA from Michigan, clean LinkedIn headshot, buzzwords in every post. VaultBridge had just announced Series A funding, $18 million. Investors included Sparrow Capital, Blue Ridge Holdings, and Kessler Advisory Group, my father's firm. I downloaded VaultBridge's demo API, set up a sandbox instance, and traced the backend. Ghost Audit's entire framework was there, modified but obvious to anyone who knew the bones. The only thing that wasn't there was my name. No attribution, no license mention, no credit. I opened Quiet and mapped the integration paths. Krall hadn't even masked them properly. Lazy repackaging. Added a UI layer and called it innovation. But he wasn't the threat. The leak hadn't come from him. It came from the private repo I used to back up version beta during capstone season. The repo was password protected, sure, but the access log showed an IP hit 6 months ago. Columbus, Ohio, the home office for Kessler Advisory Group. I called up a second trace. Checked my GitHub mirror. 2 files had been cloned. internalaudit.cpp and authmask.py. That second one? It wasn't even live code. It was a debug script I'd never deployed, full of experimental ideas and sandbox tests. But it had one line at the top. Secretary Jude K. Do not use publicly, they'd used it anyway, and renamed the header to # internal utility -VaultBridge Labs. I closed the laptop and leaned back in my chair. No anger, just arithmetic. They didn't just steal my work. They made money off it, invested in it, built a fraud protection company using code designed to expose fraud. That irony would have been funny if it hadn't been so predictable. I checked the tags on VaultBridge's latest LinkedIn post. Proud of the team. Proud of the mission. We're here to protect trust. My mother had commented underneath with clapping emojis. It got worse the deeper I went. A search on political contributions turned up a pass called Renewed Integrity Now, listed under a Delaware shell. Its largest donor? Midview Civic Strategies, with a registered address linked to a business unit inside a Kessler Advisory Group portfolio partner. And the passee's public endorsee, Christine Kessler, my mother. She'd launched a campaign that spring. City council seat, platform, transparency, family values, digital security policy. On the site's About page, there was a photo of her standing in front of a bookshelf, smiling warmly. To her right, framed on the desk, my son graduated top of his class in computer science. He inspires me every day. No name, no quote, just the idea of me. Used to buy trust, the same trust her firm was undermining behind closed doors. I read the whole site twice. Didn't flinch, didn't blink, just opened a new file on Quiet, called it motherpac.json, started logging. At 3:15 a.m., I got an email from Dr. Lowell. Subject: Next step. Body: Ghosts aren't seen, but they move through walls. Attached was a zip folder titled Candidate Documents. I opened it. Inside, opposition research on Christine Kessler, donation trail inconsistencies, a digital footprint audit report on VaultBridge, internal pitch deck with matching phrasing from my software proposal, the file name on the last document, Kessler Pitch Confidential.pdf, dated 5 months before I graduated. They'd had it the whole time. Before they skipped my science fair, before they cut my speech, before they clapped for Elijah in the gym. They'd already made their bet. Used the kid's code, rebrand it, fund it, cut him out and call it family sacrifice. Jake doesn't scream. Jake writes everything down. I made a list. Who knew? My father, my mother, whoever scrubbed the original commit logs. Who profited? VaultBridge, the PAC Kessler Advisory Group. Who stood in my way? Next, anyone who thought I was still sitting in that car with a cold burger. That Monday, I joined Orion's onboarding call. I didn't mention VaultBridge, didn't mention the code, just smiled when they asked for a name I wanted listed on legal filings. No name, I said. List the product under Project Quiet, founder to be disclosed later. I wasn't building a startup, I was building a backdoor, and they were already inside it. I didn't confront them. Jake never confronts. He logs in, opens the file, and starts digging. Quiet had evolved. What began as a back-end audit tool was now something else entirely. It didn't just detect fraud, it mapped behavior, user fingerprints, time signatures, cross-referenced inconsistencies in human patterns. It knew when someone was lying, and more importantly, how often. My father's firm, Kessler Advisory Group, had 3 major financial partners. 2 of them were routing invoice patterns that matched Quiet's threshold for synthetic vendor drift, which meant money was moving where it shouldn't. Not in obvious ways, just a little off, consistently. Most people would have missed it. I didn't. First, I flagged every instance. Then I let Quiet sit for 30 days learning. It found 42 suspicious vendor transactions, 12 donation inconsistencies tied to Christine Kessler's campaign, 9 PDF invoices with doctored metadata. Then Quiet made a graph. It looked like a spider web. In the center, VaultBridge, the company built on my code. I didn't go to the press, not yet. I went to the records, created an encrypted drive, loaded all GitHub commits, email headers, time-stamped screenshots, financial trails, IP access logs from the university servers. I stored 2 offline backups, one in a fireproof box at a storage facility under a different name, one in an encrypted cloud account tied to a Shell LLC I registered a year ago for a side project. Then I set up the bait. VaultBridge had just launched a new marketing campaign. We see everything. I wrote an anonymous blog post published under the pseudonym DataGhost. Title: What Happens When Fraud Tech Commits Fraud. I seeded it in 5 niche industry forums, dropped it into a few Telegram groups used by InfoSec analysts. Within 72 hours, it hit Hacker News, then Reddit, then LinkedIn. The article didn't name VaultBridge, it didn't have to. I included just enough technical detail, enough to make anyone familiar with the platform look twice at their own product. The panic was immediate. I watched traffic spike on VaultBridge's terms of service page, then on their investor landing site. By day 4, someone on Twitter was asking if their fraud tech was based on acquired IP. By day 6, a rival firm filed a FOIA request on campaign donations linked to the Kessler PAC. At 10:34 a.m. the following Tuesday, I got a call from an unknown number. I didn't answer. Then came the voicemail. "Jude, it's your father. We need to talk. Someone's been spreading things. There's confusion. I'd prefer to handle this internally." Internally, of course. I saved the voicemail, named the file, denial.mp3. Then I called Orion, told them I was ready to move forward. No public-facing role, no brand, no press, just legal infrastructure and quiet growth. "Your name won't appear," the director said. "Only Project Quiet." "Good," I replied. Then I asked if they could connect me with a political risk law firm. They could. That night, I logged into a burner email account tied to my mother's campaign. I'd signed up for her newsletter under a fake name 2 months ago. She was holding a fundraiser the following week, small event, Press Aloud IRSPD. The week leading up to the event I spent on cleanup. Had Quiet prepare a visual trail of how my original code was modified, highlighted the commit history VaultBridge tried to scrub, cross-referenced campaign donations with flagged vendor payments. I formatted everything into a clean PDF, Ghost Inheritance V 1.0, sent it to 1 tech journalist, 1 political reporter, 1 IRS whistleblower tipline, and myself, CC'd, time-stamped. At the fundraiser, I didn't enter through the front. I waited in the side hallway, out of sight. From the speakers inside, I heard her voice. "This city needs people who believe in integrity, who believe in legacy." I didn't smile, just watched as one of her aides stepped into the hallway to take a call. Then I dropped a folder onto the table behind him. Inside, a copy of the Ghost Inheritance file and a USB stick. No note, no return address, just a sticker on the cover, Family Values. The following day, VaultBridge's CTO resigned. The company released a statement calling the blog post misleading but worth investigating. Their Series A investor pulled out. Funding froze. At the same time, a local journalist published a piece on campaign donation irregularities tied to Christine Kessler's PAC. She blamed hackers, called it an orchestrated hit job, but nobody believed her. Then I dropped the real hammer. I created a private foundation, called it the Overlooked Fund. Its mission: support scholarship students abandoned by family support networks. I listed its seed sponsor as the Kessler Foundation. Not affiliated, not approved, just named. Perfectly legal. I posted it on LinkedIn. Within 48 hours, The name trended. Someone asked my mother about it at a town hall meeting. She smiled and said she was proud of young Jude. The moderator corrected her. Actually, the fund's press release said it was created by someone once erased by the Kesslers. Care to comment on that phrasing? Her smile cracked, only for a second, but I saw it. That night, I got another call. Same number. Jude, this has gone far enough. You've made your point. They still didn't get it. I didn't want a point. I wanted the silence to speak back. I didn't dress for attention. Gray suit, no tie, neutral shoes. The kind of outfit that lets you disappear in a crowd or appear just enough to make them guess where they've seen you before. It was Thursday morning. Tech Integrity Summit. Downtown Boston. Sponsored by 3 firms, including one previously partnered with VaultBridge. I wasn't invited, or rather, I hadn't been, until Orion bought speaking rights for Project Quiet 2 days before the event. They listed me as an independent consultant. No bio, no photo, just a topic. Behavioral drift in compliance systems. I sat in the back during the morning panels, watched Owen Crawl from VaultBridge give a keynote on the importance of trust in scaling AI systems. He wore a sapphire tie, practiced smile, said words like vision and protection, like they were trademarks. My father sat in the second row, hands folded, face tight. Christine Kessler didn't attend. She'd canceled all public appearances after her campaign came under unexpected legal review. That review was ongoing. At 2 p.m., I stepped on stage. No fanfare. Just a microphone, a laptop, and the hush of 100 tech professionals checking my name on the program. I opened with a graph, behavioral signature mapping, a heat signature of risk elevation across internal decision trees. Then I spoke, slowly. Most fraud doesn't start with intent. It starts with comfort, familiar patterns, skipped protocols, ghost fingerprints. I showed a sequence from Quiet, changed the names, blurred identifiers. But anyone in the room who needed to recognize the shape did, especially my father. His eyes locked on the screen. He knew the framework. He knew the patterns. He didn't blink. Then I ended with one sentence. If your tech stack was built on borrowed trust, don't be surprised when the debts come due. The room was silent. I closed the laptop, thanked the audience, walked off stage. Behind me, I heard murmurs ripple across the rows. A few gasps. Someone asked a question I didn't wait to hear the answer to. By the time I reached the building exit, my phone buzzed. Text from a journalist I hadn't spoken to since sophomore year. That was you, wasn't it? The blog, the source, the breach report. I didn't reply. 5 minutes later, I got an email from Orion. Subject: Congratulations. We just closed Series Seed B. In the attachment, the fund transfer statement. Updated founder agreement. A press draft listing Quiet as one of the most advanced behavioral compliance engines on the market. No founder name listed, just developed in-house by exclusive talent. Back at the hotel, I checked the news. VaultBridge had frozen all operations pending internal review. Owen Crawl was taking a leave to focus on personal matters. My father's firm had removed his profile from their leadership page. Christine Kessler issued a statement. I have always valued truth, even when it's uncomfortable. I remained committed to transparency no matter what. The comments were brutal. One user posted a clip from her old campaign video, next to a screenshot of the Ghost Inheritance PDF. Caption: Christine, meet the son you deleted. It went viral in under 3 hours. I didn't feel satisfaction, just quiet, the kind that doesn't need applause. That night, I walked 3 blocks from the hotel to their townhouse, my childhood home. The lights were on, the front gate still stuck halfway, the same porch chair my mother used to sit in while she pretended to read political memoirs. I didn't ring the bell. I placed a small envelope on the mat. Inside, my old house key. No note, no message, just that. Then I turned and left. The next morning, I got a call. Private number. I let it ring. Voicemail came through 5 minutes later. Jude, you've made your point. Can we talk now, please? It doesn't have to be like this. It was my mother's voice, measured, controlled. The same tone she used when she was trying to get out of a parking ticket. I archived it. Named the file. controlattempt_01.mp3. Then I blocked the number. At noon, an email landed from a local foundation. The overlooked fund had hit its donation goal. Dozens of applicants. First-year grant fully funded. Anonymous donor match confirmed. I didn't write a speech. Didn't give interviews. Just posted one line on the foundation's site. This is for every empty chair at graduation. By sunset, my father's firm issued an internal memo about unauthorized access to archived material and operational restructuring. They didn't mention me. They didn't have to. I'd already removed myself from the story. Jake never stays to watch the fire. He just lights the match, closes the door, and walks. I never answered her last message. Didn't listen to the second voicemail either. I archived it with the rest, inside a folder labeled residue. Jake doesn't reply. 2 months after the summit, Vaultbridge was acquired in silence. No press, no statement, just a quiet absorption into a holding firm nobody could trace back to me. Kral disappeared, deleted his LinkedIn. Kessler Advisory Group merged with a smaller regional firm and rebranded entirely. My father's name wasn't listed on the masthead anymore. My mother suspended her campaign to focus on personal matters. One reporter wrote a feature article titled, "The Candidate Who Forgot Her Son: How Tech, Family, and Silence Collided." It trended for a day, then the cycle moved on. But the damage stayed. I moved to a city where nobody knew me. Small apartment, clean walls, no distractions. I didn't frame my diploma, didn't unpack the old trophies, didn't bring anything from before except a hard drive and a thumb-sized cactus I'd grown in the corner of my college windowsill. I worked remotely, consulted for 3 firms, kept quiet running in the background. Let it watch while I didn't. Sometimes I got emails from scholarship applicants at the Overlooked Fund. Most just said thank you. Some told stories about parents who never showed up. Others sent photos, holding acceptance letters, standing alone on stage, smiling without an audience. I never replied, just read them, then archived each message in a folder called Proof. One afternoon, I drove back to the university. Didn't go inside, just sat in the same lot where I ate that burger. The gym looked smaller now. The floodlight still cast the same crooked shadow across the windshield, same crack in the pavement beneath my front tire. I brought a bag of food with me, burger, fries, Sprite. No ice. Let it sit next to me while the radio played something forgettable. I didn't eat it. Just let the warmth fade from the bag until it matched the air. Then I got out, walked across the lot, opened the back door of the gym, and left the bag in the exact spot where I once parked. No note, just a folded envelope underneath it. Inside, a blank page. Back at the apartment, I turned off the lights, sat at my desk, pulled up quiet, watched the logs scroll. Nothing urgent, no alarms, just code breathing. I made tea, fed the cactus, opened a fresh document, titled it Legacy, typed 1 line. They taught me silence, but silence is the sharpest sound. Then I saved the file, closed the lid, and let the room go still. That's all for this story. I'll be back with another one. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. It motivates me to create more content like this.